If a church extracts a tithe from its members, it's unlawful. The tithe was part of the law of Moses and was detailed in the book of Deuteronomy in the Holy Bible. It consisted of a 3-year cycle. The first and second year, the tithe was taken to a designated place, and the man himself, along with his family, and with the Levite priest as a guest, ate it. Period. The third year, the man took the tithe, but he was to keep it within his own gates, or go to a place designated to eat it. But even so, in the third year, he was still eating. And he was to invite as his guest widows, strangers, and orphans, and also the Levite priests, so that they could all eat and be filled. So for 3 years, the man himself ate the very tithe, which was God's money. It was the increase. Nobody mind this too much, I don't think, since you ate the meal yourself. Made it palatable. Well, around 420 to 450 BC approximately, some priests changed things up a little bit. They decided to make it read more like, "Bring the tithes to the temple treasure room." Oh my. The poor widows and strangers and orphans just got left out in the cold, I guess, unless they wanted to go through all the hoops of qualifying themselves through the priest and hope the priest would distribute it. But apparently that didn't happen too well. Now, I submit to you that surely consistency should require that money collected in the name of the law be distributed according to the provisions of that same law. That makes sense, doesn't it? If you're going to collect it, if you're going to collect the tithe in the name of the law of Moses, then distribute it according to that same law. So bringing tithes to a church is a modern day custom. Jesus had a few things to say about that type of shenanigans. He once said, "Woe unto you scribes, Pharisees, and hypocrites, for you devour women's houses." Well, now how do you devour a woman's house? Well, if she was no longer participant in the tithes that third year of everybody in town, I think that really depleted her pantry, wouldn't you think? Also, Jesus said, "But in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men." You won't hear much about these verses. Baptists don't like it because at one time it said if the man was to go somewhere on that third year and the distance was just too far, it says, "And thou shalt bestow that money on whatever thy soul lusteth after, for oxen, or for sheep, or for wine, or for strong drink, or for whatsoever thy soul desireth, that thou shalt eat there before the Lord thy God, and thou shalt rejoice, thou and thy household." The tithe was meant to be pleasant and enjoyable because the tither ate the tithe. My, how times have changed.